And we are back. Welcome to the Coach and Coach podcast. That guy beside me, he's the spread legend. He know what to run, when to run it, and how to run it. And if you don't watch it, and if you don't have enough in the box, he'll run it down your throat. And once you load up that box, he will air that thing out. He is our offensive coordinator. He is the man, the legend, the one and only Coach Benji. I
I
am
don't
your
know about all
defensive.
that.
Hey man, hey, I'm pumping you up now, man. I'm your defensive coordinator. My job, I got one sheet of paper. Just stop the run and we'll be okay. And other than that, we'll do just fine. I'm your defensive coordinator. I am Coach Marks. Together, we make up the Coach and Coach podcast. And we are live on Facebook. We're live on mine went brain dead. We're live. We live on TikTok. And we'll put the replay of the show will be on YouTube on our Coach and Coach podcast page. Also, you can listen to us if you miss in the live, just in case you do miss the live. And it is very unfortunate that you missed the live. But if you missed the live, then you can always go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to the Coach and Coach podcast show. Set your alert so you won't miss a show. And if you're not too mean, drop us a rating, guys. If you're on TikTok tonight, hit that screen. Hit that screen a lot. Touch that screen a lot. It won't cost you a thing. Your fingers might get a little numb, but just keep hitting the screen for us. It won't cost you a dime. Man, we are rolling on. Man, I've been looking forward to these next couple of weeks, Coach. Man, hey, it's football. It's real football time, Coach. How was your day?
Man, I just taking a lot of once I got through with work on my lunch break, made sure I jotted down as many notes as I could for once you sent me the itinerary for tonight, and just been excited to get to this moment. Glad to join you and everybody. The community's growing. We get to answer a lot of questions or
Yeah, I'm loving
comments,
it, man.
and I just enjoy it. So I had a great day because I knew once it was all said and done, and I get to come home, have dinner with my family, and then I get to join you guys for the show. So it's been a great day.
Well, I had to help sell fish plates today for the basketball team, so I haven't been at home at all. I got off my bus route, went straight out there and helped get the fish plates out and all of that. But like you said, man, I love the interaction that we're getting on TikTok. And for our TikTok fans, just go ahead and send somebody a message and tell them that the Coach and Coach podcast is on. Man, we about to talk about some football. We about to talk about some basketball. We about to talk about whatever going on in the sports world, and you want to be a part of it. And also for those that are following us on Facebook, I am going to do my best. If you give us a question, if you give us a comment, I do my best. I'm going to continue to check periodically throughout the show. Um, Unlike TikTok, TikTok is right up there for me, and maybe I need to start getting my iPad and setting it up as well. I mean, um, man, I got my setup is so crazy that Christavian Thornton come in. He was trying to joke, but he was for real. He was like, "Wow, this is the setup of the Coach and Coach podcast." I said, "You doggone right, fella." I said, "Welcome." I said, "Welcome. I take you on tour one day, but right now I don't need you in my way." But man, I tell you what, there's some high school, and we'll get to some high school football later on. But there are some high school playoff games that's starting tonight. Um, Weird. I was asking Coach Clark, Alan Clark, today. I said, "Man, what happened to us just playing football in the elements? Well, all of a sudden now, if there is a hint of rain or if it's going to be too cold, now we just want to move the game. What happened to us playing? Because I would have loved. I guarantee you that Malcolm Williams and Roger Armstrong and those guys would have loved if they had changed that state championship game and got it out of that rain that day, because if it wasn't for that rain, Dan Campbell would have scored the game winning touchdown on that reverse. But because he slipped and fell, man, we didn't score.
Yeah, it's a game that's meant to be played in the elements. I know you can't play in thunder and lightning, but um, and I don't know, they're talking about some type of weather like that late tomorrow night, possibly to around North Mississippi to cool things off. But uh, I go back to Adam Gore's YouTube page, and you watch the highlights of that '96 North Championship
Oh
game,
man,
and it looks like the field looks like if I was the coach that had to get that field back in shape, you're just like, man, because
you
I'm
need
sure
to
it
find.
looked like it rained throughout that game, and you just had to play in it. And
You
I
need to
thought it was
find.
always fun to play in that kind of environment from a weather standpoint.
You need to find the 1992 North Half game with Oklahoma. The field, the conditions were so bad that it rained so heavy that they had no choice but to move the game from Friday night to a Saturday night. Saturday night, the field was so messy. And I'm gonna text Adam Gore and I'm gonna ask, do he have that game? And Adam Gore is a supporter of the show, man. He texted me about a couple of weeks ago, and he's wanting to know where the archive shows was, and I sent him the link on YouTube. So if Adam Gore is listening, man, we sure appreciate your support of the show. But that game, man, when I say a messy game, I was in the 10th grade then, and it was a messy game that the game had to be played. It was so bad that it had to be played on that Saturday night, and man, it was a mess. But I miss those days of just, you know, because trust me, when we played in 2014 in the playoffs and we had Jay-Z George here, I would much rather play that game that Thursday before because, Coach, it was 30 degrees out there. Man, I froze.
But that's
I
football.
froze.
Like that's what
And
you
I
to
had something
me,
like this on.
especially on the high school level in Mississippi, you should want to be playing in that kind of
Yeah.
condition because that means you've made it somewhere. Because
Yeah.
through through halfway through your division game, if you're a fan sitting in the stands, you're in shorts and a t-shirt sweating. I mean, you know you've made it when you're playing in the cold weather in North Mississippi anyway. I'm sure it's even worse in the further south you go.
Yeah, when that field is no longer green and it's brown, that
Yeah.
means things are going pretty good for you. I think all those years we used to have to play Kansas City in the playoffs, that's when they go to their black. They had no choice but to go to their black lines and
Lines,
numbers
yeah.
because the field was so brown. And man, so yeah, I miss those days of just playing football in the elements. And unfortunately, we're not in the playoffs this year. And I did tell somebody it just felt kind of strange that we were not there. But hey, hopefully that'll light a fire into some guys in this off season that they won't be in that position to miss again. But we will get to some high school ball a little later on. But man, let's get to the thing that the next 3 to 4 weeks is gonna be glorious. Man, college football. I'm telling you, they came out. They came out with the playoff rankings, and man, they have put some stuff out there for us. We did a show together, which wasn't very long, and it was probably terrible in quality. My apologies to you guys. I was working trying to get stuff done, but Coach did put a show out the other day. So if you want to go back and look at his show on TikTok, his playoff ranking show, it'll give you a better understanding of what we are about to run into. And tonight we want to look at the previews of the game. But let's start in the SEC, Coach, and we'll save Georgia and Mississippi State for last, even though they are 11 o'clock game. But we want to go a little bit deeper into that. But I will go through the rundown of games, and then Coach will let you take over, and I'll chime in with you. But at 12 o'clock on Saturday, we do have the Citadel. The Citadel will be traveling to Ole Miss, and once again, I do not believe we'll have another Washington State. So fans, y'all can calm down. I can tell you right now, Ole Miss probably dropped 70 on the Citadel this Saturday. I do not see another Washington State happening again.
Yeah, I think Washington State would beat the Citadel by 70. So it's just different. There's tiers to it, and they don't even make it into Washington State's tier. I went and watched everything I could on them. They're not even for a military academy coach when they run their triple option. It's not. Usually when you watch the military academies run that triple option, it's a thing of beauty. They have some. I'm kind of curious if they're going to put a few on the ground because they can't get a pitch or something. Like it wasn't the most crisp thing to watch, and I think it'll be how bad does Lane Kiffin want to pad somebody's stats type of day, and how quickly do you get out of there? I don't see this being uh, even for a second in doubt.
I can see him trying to go ahead and get Lacey to that 1,000 yard mark and just getting that out the way because as of right now, Lacey needs 130. 137 yards, and he could very easily get that in the first half.
I was gonna say, and then you better get him out of there after that. I would
Yeah,
let.
yeah.
What's the freshman that's going to redshirt that was, they thought he was kind of, what is his name, Mills Knight. Uh,
The night sound from
he
I think that is him.
he needs to make his debut Saturday. You need to let him get his feet wet and let him run on
But
them.
there's a lot at stake also because Lacey is second in the SEC in rushing this year, so I can see him trying to make sure he stay close to that because that would be a huge accomplishment for Lacey to lead the SEC in rushing because right now is him, Ahmad Hardy from Missouri is leading the way with fewer carries, with 30 fewer carries. And then you got Mike Washington from Arkansas, which is kind of amazing because they be down so much. You would think that they wouldn't have the running opportunities for him to even be in a conversation of being the third leading rusher in the SEC. But they haven't abandoned the run, so he's still the third. And then you got Jeremiah. It's a weird when you look at it. When you look at the teams that are there, you got in the top five in rushing. You got Missouri's Hardy. You got Ole Miss Lacey. You got Mike Washington from Arkansas. You got Jeremiah Cobb from Auburn, and you got Deshaun Bishop from Tennessee.
Well,
And if you go to number six, Arkansas got two running backs in the
hey,
freaking top 10.
Auburn has to be up there because I mean they can't throw the ball, so they've got to have somebody up there. But I think it's cool for Lacey too, just to get him to that 1,000 yard mark because
Yeah.
outside of current, you could go back further than I can, but for me, 1,000 yard rushers, I'm thinking Deuce McAllister, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, Jordan Watkins, Quinshon Judkins. That's the only ones I can recall since in
McAllister, I
my
I
lifetime.
think Do Innocent might have got it, but I do know McAllister.
Was
I believe
John Avery 1,000 yard back?
I don't think he got it because I think Deuce really dug into most of Avery's snaps, and I can go and
Gotcha.
check that later on. I don't think John got there because we really when it happened, it was a big thing. So
Yeah.
I don't think, and if anybody in the chat, if you checking it, just let us know.
I
Let us.
remember when I do remember when Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis got there. I mean, it was a big deal for Ole Miss because it just wasn't
So
something that happened a ton.
yeah, it wasn't. And let's see, I'm gonna pull it up.
And then I know Jordan Watkins. That was before Quinshon. There's a long gap between Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Jordan Watkins
Yes, a very. I mean that, but
or Wilkins, not Watkins. Wilkins.
so I got it pulled up right now. Ben Jarvis did hit 1,000 on the dot in 2016. Jordan Wilkins had 1,011.
Yeah.
Um, John Plumley had 1,023 at quarterback.
Really?
Yes, and that was in 2019. Deuce McAllister had 1,082 in 1998. Ben Jarvis again in 2007 had 1,137 yards. Junkins had 1,158. Dexter McCluster had 1,169
In a
in
year?
yes in 2000. He had 11, but that McCluster had an amazing year.
He
He had a
did.
lot of big runs. He had a
Yeah.
McCluster, if I'm not mistaken, averaged almost 8-9 yards a carry that year.
He
He
did.
had he had amazing runs with
And that Kiffin Tennessee team, he broke so
yeah,
many records that day.
yeah, he had. I was at that game, man.
I was too.
It was a joy to watch, man, just to see him run, man. McCluster was an amazing running back for his size, and they lied on his side, coach. I ran into McCluster one day. They had him listed as 5'8". That was a lie. McCluster is every bit of 5'5", 5'6". He was way under me. So, and then you had Junkins had 1,500 and which is the record. Junkin had 1,567 yards, so he do hold the single season record, which when you look at it, is there a possibility if we get in the playoff? Yes, there's a
Yeah,
possibility that
absolutely.
Lacey could um, Lacey could get to 1,000 this game and be at the end of the season at 1,300 yards. You get two playoff games, then boom, you're there, and you are now the single season record holder in rushing.
Yeah, I definitely think that could happen.
At 2:30, we got number 3 Texas A&M traveling to number 22 Missouri. Um, I don't think Missouri will scratch. I don't think they'll scratch their nose that day.
Yeah, they've Missouri's had some opportunities in some close games. You think about a 7 point loss to Vanderbilt and a 4 point loss to Missouri or to Alabama, pretty close. I think Texas A&M is I know you can't not give it to Ohio State, but I kind of lean that Texas A&M is the number one team in the country. 6.5 is a weird number to me. I think they could possibly win by more than that. I know that Missouri's always in the fight, but I'd like Texas A&M in this one.
Well, am I crazy not to be 100% sold on Texas A&M?
No, I mean when you do go look at the games they've played, from a quality standpoint, what LSU at nights probably, I guess Notre Dame. I'm not high on Notre Dame, but that's probably their best win. Uh, they're gonna we're gonna figure it out in the month. They're gonna play Texas. They're gonna play. They've got somebody else too, but I
Yeah, South,
I think
South
from
Carolina,
South Carolina, and then it's is it Samford? And,
Samford, and then
yeah,
they got
so
Texas at the end of the
I think
season.
they're winning out. I just look at them, and I've said it several
They
times.
got
I
the right.
think
They got the perfect schedule.
they remind me of a old school SEC team where it kind of seemed like for 3 quarters it's a game, but they've leaned on you for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden
Now,
Marcel Reed hits
coach,
you over the top
now,
or takes
coach,
off with his legs.
I don't appreciate you calling an old Big 8 team as an old school SEC team.
I'm just talking about from the
I don't
recipe.
like. I don't like that,
I'm
coach.
just talking about from the
I, I
recipe.
I don't know how to feel about that. A&M just, uh, uh, I wish they'd have wait till Manziel had left before they came to the SEC because that dude really messed us up for 2 years.
He did
We had two home games, and he
and
single-handed
walked it
beat
off.
us twice.
And we
I
had
hate, I hate Manziel.
what in 12? I know we had a 2-score lead in 12 in the
Oh
fourth
my
quarter
God.
and lost.
I was at both games, and I watched him just. We could not stop him.
But you got to admit, Coach, out of them and Missouri, they fit the SEC more than Missouri does to me.
Yeah,
Even though Missouri's been to a conference championship game and A&M hasn't to this point, they fit, in my opinion, they fit. Um,
yeah.
but I like Texas A&M. I think there's a case for them to be number one right now.
Now that I look at their schedule, I just really haven't believed in their dominance. They will be a team that would not shock me lost their playoff game. It wouldn't shock me that they lose their playoff game because, like you just said, they haven't really been challenged. I think they received an LSU team that already saw the handwriting on the wall.
And I'm
They
telling you,
already
Coach,
it was over
if
with.
the if say they are a top four, say that they're sitting at 3 right now, say they stay there, say nothing happens,
Yeah,
they're gonna match in that first round or that second round. Say Ole Miss comes out of, I think it'll be Ole Miss
and A&M.
and A&M in the Cotton Bowl or something like that.
Yeah,
They're gonna match up like because I think they'll try to match up Ohio State and Oregon out in the Rose Bowl. I
Rose
think they're
Bowl.
going to try to match certain things up a certain way. I figure what would that make? Probably Georgia, Alabama in the Sugar Bowl if things
Yep.
go the way they are. So
Money games,
that means we're
money
going to be the
games.
one that that means we'll be the one to put them out to
And
pasture
coach, you know what
if
I feel
if
like? I
things
feel like it could happen because,
yeah.
like you said, A&M outside of a couple of games that we brought up, they really haven't been battle tested this year, and that is a problem with, as we saw last year, teams that had the bye struggled, and that's a long gap between championship game. Like they went out, they'll be in the SEC championship. That's a long gap from there to that first playoff game, and it usually benefits. And I remember saying this last year. I just felt like the teams that are playing will have an advantage of the teams that's not playing.
Right.
At 3 o'clock, we got Auburn traveling. I said traveling to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, this is a must-win game for them because they are still theoretically in the mix. They cannot afford to lose any more games. Um, with what's left on their schedule, Auburn, Kentucky, Tennessee, if they win out, they at least keep themselves in the conversation. If they
Yep.
drop
Yep.
any one of these games, then they are out of the situation. But um, what a heck of a job uh, this
Clark
coaching
Lee.
staff at Vanderbilt this year.
Yeah, Clark Lee's done a great job, and I think that he wants to be there. I don't think he's one of these coaches that's looking at these job openings
Lane
and ready
Kiffin,
to go. I think you look at the NIL market that Nashville
Lane
gives
Kiffin.
you. Yeah, we were that was kind of backhanded, but you look at the NIL market that Nashville could provide. I
Oh,
could see
man.
them, if they could fix. I don't know where they are with all the academic standards, but say they get that to where it's lax to where you can go get whoever you want. I mean, it's a city that would be attractive to college athletes. I mean,
Coach,
it's
what a lot of people don't understand about that area, Vanderbilt, the Nashville area, they have more celebrities than what
yeah,
people know.
yeah, it'd
They
be
have a lot of celebrities that will pump money into that into whatever they need to be successful. They are a sleeper. They are a sleeping giant in the NIL market.
and
Now
this
that they see
era,
that we can win, ooh,
this era can move them up a rung of the ladder, But
yes,
this is a weird game because you look at Vanderbilt last week, and I know they were on the road, but they struggled with running the football. They found themselves in a lot of third and longs. They had a lot of penalties and stuff. Auburn defensively, it's going to be a similar task as what Texas gave. Auburn's good defensively. They just can't score. So you got to be able. I think if you get to 20, shoot, 24, 27 points, you can win. But I think this is a close game. This is because you're like you said, Vanderbilt can't drop one. Their playoff
yeah,
starts Saturday, and it's you know
yeah.
it's a big game for them. You can say Auburn's not got their head coach and stuff, but they've been a good defensive team all year. And you're fighting for your life if you're Vanderbilt. Just I think that's one to keep an eye
The reason why I think that Vandy will be
on.
okay, this is the way they clawed back last week. They
Yeah,
they showed something that I have. I don't want to say I've never witnessed in Vandy because Vandy always, as an Ole Miss fan, anybody that's Ole Miss fan, Vandy was a thorn in our side. Um, I've referenced this before. I always said that if I was a head football coach, I was going to put in my office, do not blitz inside of the five. I watched Todd Yoder catch a pass. I forgot who the quarterback was, but we went in a all out blitz at the 5 yard line in overtime, and they hit Todd Yoder in the corner of the end zone. And Vanderbilt beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss. Matter of fact, I think it was homecoming, and I remember just still sitting in the stands when the game was over, just flabbergasted that we just lost to Vandy. And Vandy has always been a tough. So Vandy's been a gritty team. They're benefit, but what I saw last week in a situation where they should have been dead to the water, that they were able to yet claw back and was just a. When I went back and watched the onside kick again, it was
should
a
have had it.
player that knocked it out of the hand. The other player was about to corral it, and his own teammate knocks it out of his hand.
Yeah.
They were that close to getting the ball back. And if you, with that momentum shifted like that, and you give Pavia that situation, oh, they go and they get the win. And we're talking about a 8-1 Vanderbilt team opposed to 7-2. So I feel like their fans will come out, they will be rocking, and I think Vandy will 6.5. I think Vandy beats Auburn by 2 touchdowns
I can see it.
at 6:30. And man, that's a big gap. Well, it's not a big gap, but it's just strange. It's just this game just looked weird this week. But at 6:30, you got the walking wounded LSU Tigers going into Brian Denham Stadium. 9.5 is just not enough. I just don't feel like that's gonna be a 9.5 game. I just think Alabama will walk the dog with LSU. And can you believe that there is a strong possibility that the LSU Tigers could end the season at after this week they will be 5-4. They can actually end the season 7-5.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
for them to have been what they were ranked as high as fourth. I think when
Wow.
Ole Miss played them, they were the number 4 team in the country.
Man,
For me, with this game, I think LSU will be a little spunky because they've got their. I think they're. You hear all these stories about how bad and toxic that locker room was with Brian Kelly. I actually think that the vibes changed, and I think I don't think you wholesale change stuff, but there could be some wrinkles that you see that maybe Alabama wasn't prepared for. But I
people
think
play
once all
better.
that, that stuff works for what a half till somebody makes adjustments,
Yeah.
and then once you make them adjustments, I think Bama rolls. And then, I think then it could possibly, you got to look at it. We'll talk about it when we get to Florida and Kentucky, but say they lose the game that they're like, man, we got a breath of fresh air and you lose this game. Could you be in a situation that we'll talk about when we get to that game? Because I think I think when you look at some things with that Florida Kentucky game,
Yeah.
they got problems down there.
But LSU and Auburn both are gonna have, the I don't want to call it fake pumpness, but they're gonna come out in that first half. I don't think they will be flat,
Yeah.
but I think both teams, Vandy and Alabama, will withstand the initial excitement of because interim coaches are fired up and boom
Nothing
boom
to lose. Nothing to
yeah.
lose. You throw the kitchen sink out there and see what happens.
Only Jolie Dunn didn't take his interim tag seriously, but but they fired up and they ready to roll. And LSU interim coach, I mean, crap, he's been there forever. He's like the career interim coach. Like that's just what he do. Frank, that's what he do. Because Frank was at Ole Miss. He was our pipeline to all of those major high schools in Louisiana. That's why he was at Ole Miss. And when he went back to Florida, and he's been at Florida all of this time, and he know those kids. He's been there for decades, so he know those kids. He was there with Ogeron. He know them, and they know him, and they're gonna play hard for him. But it's Alabama. It's
I'm with
Alabama.
you. I'm with you, coach. I think that eventually that tide will roll.
Yeah, it's gonna roll and it's gonna roll right over them, and they're gonna be 5-4 after tomorrow. And then at the cap off the SEC night, you got 3-5 Florida going to 3-5 Kentucky, and Florida is a 3.5 point favorite, but I'm just not believing in it.
I'm not either, coach. I'm gonna ride with the Wildcats. I think it's a and I think it's a race to like 17 points for the win. But when you look at Florida's probab or not probability, but availability report, they don't have anybody left. Everybody's on it, and
Quit.
I think it has to do with the Q word. I don't think it's injury
No, they
related.
quit. We can say it.
I think
Them
some
boys
guys,
done quit.
well, in coaching circles, man, that's a hard word to say, but you don't want to say quit. But um, I'm
Them
starting
boys
to
done
wonder if
quit.
some guys are getting or like, hey, we're putting our feelers out there for the portal because that's a long list, and there are a couple guys like the Wilson guy receiver that's really good. I think he would make a difference for them. I know he has an injury, but there's a lot of names on there that played last week, and
Coach, they are taking the worst. First of all, the worst quarterback I think in the league.
I agree. I don't understand the hype.
Gosh,
I don't understand the Sellers hype, and I don't understand the Lagway hype.
and Kentucky coming off the big win last week, and they are pumped up. They are fired up. I mean, they sit up there. They beat Auburn. They are not. They just they've got rid of a coach, and man, they fired up and they pumped up, and they going to play for their coach. I don't know why the love affair for Stoops is that strong in the bluegrass state, but it is, and that I'm if I'm a betting man, I am betting Kentucky. I would take that plus 3.5 and roll with it because I do not see Florida winning that ball game.
Well, the things with Stoops is, he's always been a kind of football in general. There's always just kind of been like hey, we got to get the semester started. Just get us to basketball season. And then he had what a 5 year period where he was knocking down 7, 8, 9 wins, and so you actually made that getting us to basketball season exciting. I think he could be a lifer there, just because the fact that they would rather spend that money on their basketball program. Um, he's got a pretty hefty buyout price tag beside his name, so I think he's hanging out with them for a minute.
Well, you know what time it is.
Yeah.
Coach Benji, key of the game.
Coach, number 5, Georgia travels. I'm trying to figure out the path they would travel. If I was driving from Athens, I got to come through, and then by the time I get to Mississippi, they can get right on. They can go from 22 and probably find a way to get to 82 from there. You get on 45, and then
Yeah.
you travel down and get on 82. This might be the wrong route, but the Georgia Bulldogs are going to face another Bulldog in that school down there. I don't want to give them too much love, but this game is a this is a huge game with huge implications, and it's not as cut and dry as everybody think it's going to be.
No, I think it's got a chance to be kind of scary for Georgia. The one thing we can say about Mississippi State is they're I think they're well coached, and I think they play hard. And they've taken some teams like Tennessee to overtime, took Texas to overtime, and fell just short of Florida, and then got Arkansas. But for me, if Mississippi State's going to have a chance to win this game, uh, let's start. We can start with defense. I think you got to get pressure on Gunnar Stockton. If you go back and watch, we watched him what he did against Ole Miss when you didn't put pressure on him, and for me, or not for me, this is a fact. Mississippi State is 15th lowest in the country as a pass rush grade. They have the 15th lowest pass rushing grade, so you got to find a way to get pressure when it's not your strength, because since the first snap of the Ole Miss game, Gunnar Stockton has an 80% adjusted completion percentage and around a 20% pressure rate in that time. So,
Coach, explain that to the people that don't understand football.
um, so on 80% of his snaps that are drop back passes, play action passes, he's getting at least 2.5 seconds to get the ball out, so he can get it wherever he wants to. I think 2.5 is where they judge that stat, and he's throwing it at an 80% clip when he's not getting pressure in his face. Um, and I think that's where it's kind of where it starts, because if you go look at the Ole Miss game defensively, Stockton is not. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the league, but he's plenty capable with what they ask him to do to kind of pick you apart, because they don't ask him to just do a whole lot downfield. And then you got to tackle in space because of the way they run their offense. They try to get those athletes in space. Make sure you get a guy down. Don't let a broken tackle, hold on till the cavalry gets there. Don't let a 5-yard throw turn into a 35-yard gain, because you couldn't get the guy on the ground. Make sure you can tackle in space. And then offensively, it's easy to say it, but you got to be able to establish the run, because Blake Shapen, 42% of his passes are off play action, and he has the 67th best QBR on play action passes. Um, so you establish the run, they have to respect that. If they get into long distance situations, or situations where they know the defense ain't biting on a play action, he ranks 87th on pure drop back passes. So I think you want to get in a situation where you can run the football, so that they have to respect the Blake Shapen when he does a play fake, and where they have to respect the box and the running game, and then he can pull one out of the belly and throw it down the field. So I think establishing the run will be the biggest thing on offense, because um, they like to do it. I mean, I think they are almost dead 50-50 on their run to pass ratio. So if you're going to be 50-50, that means you got to be able to do it. And those are my keys for a Mississippi State cover, because I just don't think they're winning the game.
So do you not see any aspect where that they could possibly get that game?
If you could, I think you'd have to.
Or in other words, will Mississippi State have to play perfect?
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely. Yeah, they're going to play perfect because we've seen.
that's a problem.
You've seen them drop games to Florida. They weren't perfect. They like Blake Shapen is. I think it's pretty apparent that he's going to throw one to the other team during the game at some point. Um, I almost I would like to see the offense with, and I know this will get some state fans fired up, but I'd like to see Mario Taylor kind of
Oh
take the
Lord.
offense.
Thanks a
So
lot. Get them all mad. You sound that's where my son, one of my Carter, the twins, he don't even know what he be saying, but he unheard his grandfather talk so much. He hate they hate the quarterback.
and I know that you're gonna get some bad with the good. He had 3 drives last week, scored 2 touchdowns, but he almost threw a pick six, and the throw on fourth down that was almost intercepted. I mean, it was a bad decision, but I think he down the field. I think he's got plenty of arm, and Levy loves to take them shots down the field. Like they're not a intermediate passing offense. Like they're going to take the shots. And then I think he just is a different type of runner. I think Chapin does well when he pulls the ball and runs in the quarterback run game, but he's not. Taylor's a bigger athlete that's going to fall forward. He's going to be harder to get to the ground. I'd kind of like to see him play and see what would happen.
Coach, I'm looking at Georgia, and here the last couple of years, Georgia have had games where they have started slow. Um, Outside of the Kentucky game, outside of the Ole Miss game, which Ole Miss just couldn't get a stop. Now, granted, Georgia couldn't stop anything. They got the one stop that they needed. All it took was one stop, and they got their one stop, and they got the game sealed. But when you look at the Tennessee game, which was on the road, Tennessee jumped out on them 21-7.
Yep.
Um, Alabama was at home, but Alabama jumped out on them 24-14. Auburn should have been up 17-3. Should have been 17
Should
to
have
3
been.
at
Absolutely.
Auburn. Now, those are the two road games that you take away that play. The two true road games that Georgia had played this year was Florida's on a neutral field, correct? Or was
Yeah,
it
it's in Jacksonville.
in Jacksonville? So and even the Florida game, Florida jumped out on them 10-7.
Well, coach, from a betting standpoint, they have not covered a live first half line since Texas of last year. Last year.
My thing, this is where I see an avenue for state. When I look at and I count the Florida, I'm going to count the Florida as a semi road game, even though it's supposed to be neutral. But on the campus. Now I know what happened to Auburn game, but it just the referees blew it. They blew that. That was a touchdown. That was a touchdown. Uh, you cannot declare a fumble once the ball has broken the plane. If you know the rules, if you know football, the moment that ball breaks the plane, it is a touchdown. Anything else after that should have been null and void. So Auburn should have been up 17. Well, no, they kicked a field goal to get the three. Am I correct? Am I missing something on that? Did they kick the field goal to make it 3 or?
Yeah, they drove it down the
Yes.
field and
So
kicked the.
that should have been 17-0
Yeah,
going into the half.
but it was
And
10-3.
instead of 3, it should have been 17-0 on a night that they were retiring Cam Newton's jersey. The place was rocking, and that one play momentum just whoosh. So
Yep.
2 games where they've been on the road, they have been down. And now Tennessee is I've never been to Rocky Top, but Rocky Top came to Memphis one time, and I can't imagine Rocky Top in Knoxville because they brought it to Memphis. And John Avery got hit so many times, I think he wanted to come back to Northwest and just go to school because it was bad. Me and my partner went to that game. It was bad. And there I could see if there's a slow start and the funky cowbells get the rattling and jangling and they now not following the rules and you got liar coach over there mad because they ringing it when they ain't supposed to now. So the moment he complains, now it's a problem with all the players. Now their focus is not on Mississippi State anymore. It's them daggum bells. If they start slow, like they have in Tennessee, like they did in Auburn, and mess around and keep this game close, the third quarter is going to tell the tale because usually they've been able to rally, but that atmosphere, especially when it's not a place that you play at year after year. I give Ole Miss credit because we play there every other year. We know what to expect. We
Right.
know how stupid them things are and how annoying them things are. Still trying to figure out what the heck a cowbell got to do with a bulldog, but that's a whole other story. But I'm seeing, Coach. I'm just gonna say it.
You got them outright.
Mississippi State upsets Georgia this weekend.
And here would be my hit the what one time for me, coach. Hit the what. And I'm not blown away if it happens, but here would be my argument back to what you're saying about jumping out in the first half, and it goes back to Tennessee because I believe outside I would say fastest paced offenses, like from a tempo standpoint, I'd probably go Tennessee's the fastest, and then State's the second fastest. So say you run out there in the second half, or say you jump up. Do you have a couple 3-and-outs where do you extend possessions for them because you got off the field so quickly? I mean, look at how many possessions was in that Mississippi State Arkansas game. I was like, this is never going to end because it's just so fast. So that's what to me, if you jumped up, I think I'm the type of guy that's like, if I jump up, I'm about to take the air out of it. Like, I'm going to be aggressive. Like, we're not trying to just run the clock out, but I'm definitely not snapping the ball as fast as I can, especially if I'm not getting, say, I throw an incomplete pass on first down. I'm not coming right back to the line of scrimmage and snapping it, and they do. So that's kind of what I like, because I think that's what happened in the Texas game.
You give Levy a lot of credit. You Levy. He's
I like Levy.
he's a Baylor.
He's a Browse tree guy. Yep.
If he is that coach, and you're playing with house money. This is Georgia. You know, if you get up on them, do you have something in your back pocket to say, okay, let's take this air out a little bit, or is just not in his mo, and he's just gonna keep going?
I just think, I think that's what got him against Texas and Tennessee. So
Because you leave them too much time.
yeah, I just think
Basically,
you
you
get in a
give 'em-
situation
You leave them enough time to come back.
like you are running a ton of plays, but guess what? So is the other team because you're just giving them the ball right back, score or punt. Like you're wearing your own defense out, and it just extends the game and it keeps them around. Maybe he does do it, but so far we've seen it. I haven't seen anything that points to. I think he's going to run his offense.
Well, I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna stay with my pick. I do have Mississippi State upsetting Georgia this weekend. It's just and maybe maybe it's me that want it to happen. I just want some teams out of the playoff mix like Notre Dame.
And I'm gonna tell you another thing because there's several picks that I'm like, man, I really feel this way about this game because I all week I leaned, like I kind of like Mississippi State in this game, but then you hear the experts start leaning that way, and you're like, boy, whatever the experts do, it's time to swerve because they are rarely right.
Yeah, they really messed it. They unmessed up a bundle of games. So that looks at our SEC schedule in a nutshell this weekend, and we do have some. There's some games in the SEC that can not only shape the tournament rankings, but can also shape the SEC rankings because if Missouri do pull it off, now you're looking at a situation where you can
Have
end
a
up with a
four-way
log.
tie. Yeah.
Yeah, you can end up with a log jam going into that final week on who's gonna make the SEC championship. So, man, it's a lot of stuff that go on. I mean, you still, even though I told um, Darren Welch in the chat in Facebook, he said they gonna win by 3, and I just told him that the Tide gonna win by 40, but but they might be Frank might have them boys fired up this week, and and like I said with Texas on last week, like I said um with Penn State, who keep letting me down, the talent is there for these teams.
Yeah.
The talent is there. They just didn't. You didn't just stumble on number one and number two and whatever the case may be. With Texas being number one, they still there's a reason that they were number one. There's a reason that
Right.
they're number. So it's not like they don't have they don't have no injuries. It's a reason that they were number one, and maybe everybody is starting. You know, and maybe the environment that Coach Kelly brought to LSU was so toxic that people couldn't play free.
Yeah.
And maybe now Frank come in and allows them to play free, and they essentially don't have nothing to lose.
Or
You're 5
maybe
and 3. You're out of the playoffs.
I think that, and I think you could say this about every team in the country, just about. But there's with this parity and this spreading out of the talent, everybody's got a flaw, and maybe this coaching, maybe they didn't want to hear from the coaching staff. Maybe it's a dictatorship. Maybe they find a way to kind of make up for whatever that flaw is, which I think's up front. But maybe they find a way to protect Nussmeier better. Like maybe they change protection or number of people in the box protecting something that could figure something out. Could have been a simple fix that I don't think changes a whole lot, but could change some things.
I mean, and you look at it, maybe there was a grip on Nussmeier. Maybe he wasn't allowed to do anything, and maybe this staff right here gives him a little bit more freedom. And because they give him freedom, he starts to play to his potential. You just never know. But those two games are they kind of tricky because not only are they tricky in the fact that something could happen in the A&M in Missouri in the LSU and Alabama game, but at the same time, it can also alter the future of the SEC championship this year. So SEC ball this week is going to be. I hope they don't let us down. I hope I don't look up and Georgia got 40 and State got 0,
I
and
don't
you
think it'll be like that.
get the A&M game and A&M is up 37-0 to Missouri or something like that. I wish the games be competitive to the point to where we do have some parity, and parity, you know, bodes well for. I mean, I'm Ole Miss guy. Parity will bode well for Ole Miss because if all of that is going on, then that means that we are still in the mix. But coach, let's go to the top 25, which is also I know on tomorrow night Northwestern will travel to La La Land to take on the 19th ranked USC Trojans. Um, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. You got number 2 Indiana traveling to. Man, it's real weird to see Penn State 3-5, 0-5 in the Big Ten, but they are traveling and they are double digit favorites.
And you
Uh,
better lay them
yeah,
because Indiana's offense, they're going to score.
I just think the whiteout is going to be black and blue. Come 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 12 o'clock. I think Penn State will. They're gonna have to go get LeVar Arrington. They're gonna have to go get Saquon Barkley back, and everybody that unplayed in that jersey for them to win this game. You got the big game in the Big 12 at 11 a.m. You got number 7 BYU traveling to number 8 Texas Tech. We talked about this on Tuesday night. I asked you, was this an elimination game? And you said for BYU, no, but for Texas Tech, it would be. Um, do you still feel the same way that if Tech win, BYU is still in the mix?
They'll be in
Or
the mix because, from my understanding of it, they'll have a win over Utah, and if they beat Cincinnati, that puts them back in the Big 12 championship to beat Texas Tech. Now, I think if they lost twice to Texas Tech, I know they say they don't punish you
oh,
for losing a conference championship game, but I do think if you've lost twice to a team that's I'm gonna tell you, it's the spread's 10.5, and I think Texas Tech will win this by 20. I mean,
wow.
I don't think it's close. I think, and that's now I do think it's a loss that's going to disqualify them. They're going to have to go win the Big 12 to be in. They're not. They're going to be sitting outside the playoff rankings at the end of the year with a loss. You could just tell by the way they voted and where they place some teams. They've got, the committee has Texas um, and Oklahoma sitting as the first two out. Those are SEC teams. They didn't put they didn't put a Georgia Tech up there sitting on the bubble. They didn't put Iowa sitting up there on the bubble. They put SEC teams there. I think it's going to be an SEC tournament and Big Ten tournament with one Big 12 team, one ACC team, and then Memphis or somebody. However, all that shakes out.
Coach, if Texas Tech beat BYU by 10 or more, if I'm a committee voter, um, like you just said, you would have to win the Big 12 to get in. You do not get an at large. If you get blown out by Texas Tech by more than 2 touchdowns, then that means anybody that I put you up against in this tournament is going to blast you. And they would have to win the Big 12 championship if they get blown out. Now, on the flip side, if BYU and Texas Tech competitive game, they lose by 1 touchdown or less, then my thinking of that changes. But if they get beat by 2 touchdowns or more, it's either win the Big 12 or you're not in at all.
Or say BYU wins the game, I think they'll jump Ole Miss for a week anyway, because Ole Miss is playing the Citadel this weekend.
And you have to, because BYU win, they're 9-0,
Yeah.
6-0 in their conference. I know the Big 12 ain't a juggernaut conference, but yet and still Ole Miss have 1 loss. And you're not playing nobody this week or next week, or the next week.
Nah,
We got more to lose than we have to gain.
Yep.
And
But I think go ahead, Coach.
And we still got need help to move up. And it's not far we can move anyway. At number 6, you only got 2 more slots that you can even 1 more slot that you can even go. So we got more to lose in these next 3 weeks than we have the game. So
Absolutely.
I can see that. I honestly, Coach, maybe because of where they would stand in the Big 12, the winner of this game probably is going to jump Ole Miss anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're an SEC person, I think you're going ahead and saying, because I do think when you look at it on paper, and I know the game's not played on paper, but you look at the NIL dollars put in, and you look at the rosters, I think Texas Tech has a better roster than anybody in the Big 12. So they need to just go ahead and win everything, get to the Big 12 championship game and win, because you let BYU mess around, win Saturday, but then lose. Now, that's the thing. Say they go 12-0, but lose to Texas Tech in the conference championship game, you're not punishing a 12-1 BYU. Then it's a 2-bid league. You need Texas Tech to go ahead. If you're an SEC fan, you need Texas Tech to go ahead and do it. And I think in this game, Saturday, I think Texas Tech defensively smothers them, forces Bear to push the ball down the field, and I just don't think he's capable of doing that consistently. And then I like them. Everybody's like, well, they're on a backup quarterback. Well, they've got like a 2-headed monster at running back that's just, and they're beating everybody. Outside of their loss, it's a double-digit win for them in every conference game. They went to Utah and smacked Utah, and I think they're gonna smack BYU at home.
Well, that, like I said,
and I know in my live I get a lot of BYU fans in there, and I know that hurts them. But
Well, I mean,
that's my opinion on the game. I said all week that I was like, man, I like Texas Tech, but I got a whole week to pick the game. Well, now I'm picking the game. Texas Tech is going to smack them.
well, I gotta be with my guy, Coach Jackson, who's the Texas Tech alum. I got to be pulling for Texas Tech because, like I said, like you just said, if BYU wins that game, then that bodes trouble for the SEC and preferably us because we want to stay in that mix to host the game. And like I said, with the 3 games we got coming up with unranked teams, we got more to lose than we have to gain. You got number 1 Ohio State going to Purdue. Off to the next game. Ain't no sense talking
Lay
about
'em.
that. That's over with. You got another big one in the Big Ten. You got number 9 Oregon traveling to number 20 Iowa.
I got Iowa, coach.
Elimination game, coach.
I got Iowa, and I think it is. I think it's. I
If
don't think there's
Iowa
anything
wins,
left on Oregon's resume if they lose to Iowa.
if Iowa wins, coach, that Big Ten only have 2 teams.
Yeah, I think it's hard for Iowa to play their way back into it.
Right.
They're sitting at 20. They're going to have, even with a big win. Now they are going to get USC next week, so that's another
Now,
resume booster
now,
potentially.
If they go there and do that, now they can find their way in that top 12, I believe. If Iowa wins this game and win out, and not have to deal with a Big Ten championship, I could see a path where they get to that number 12, number 10 slot.
Yeah, but I think they've got to do that. I mean, they obviously got to do that, and even then, I still think
Need some help.
you're going to need some help because I think of it this way: Oregon, if they're at 9, they're not dropping they're not unless it's just a blowout. If it's a close loss, they're going to stay ahead of Iowa.
15.
Would probably 15 next week, and Oregon would be 16 or something. They're not going to drop them plumb out. So could there be a chance where Oregon could find a way to jump them again somehow? I just think that Iowa's going to need a little help. But I like Iowa. I will be glued to. It's weird to say this, the Big Ten on CBS because it was the SEC on CBS for so long. But I like Iowa in this game.
The opportunity for Oregon is a little bit better than Iowa if Oregon lost the game because they'll still have 2 ranked opponents that they have to deal with. And not only that both of those games, well, no, both of them would be at, one would be at USC at home. I mean, one would be at home against USC, and then
They got to Washington.
So they would have an opportunity, even with this loss, to try to. And that's the thing is, like you've been saying, there are some teams that could possibly be 10-2 that have the games on their resume that can give them an opportunity. Ole Miss is in the worst possible scenario because we played the Citadel, Florida, and Mississippi State.
And your best win's a road win at Oklahoma, which, right now it looks really good because they just went to Tennessee and won. But I think they've got losses coming. So then your next best win's what, LSU? Right now, your second best win is LSU, right?
Coach, the governor disagrees with us. The governor just put in the chat in Facebook, he said Oregon by 2.
Oregon
Not
by
just
2.
He said by 2 touchdowns.
Well, I don't want to argue with him because if he's as right as he
I
is,
want to argue with him, Coach.
But man, the man's got the record in high school.
I'm gonna argue in high school. That's where he is. He played good in high school. This is college football where we pay our players top dollars. And you're not finna tell me.
I'm just gonna tell
Oregon
was
by 2 touchdowns.
Iowa's always had great defense. They've always played great defense, and now you're seeing them play quality offense. I just, for some reason, but this is another one, Coach. This is the second game where I said it earlier. In the beginning of the week, you didn't hear it from the experts, and in my Sunday Night Live on TikTok, I was like, I like Iowa, and now I'm hearing Kirk Herbstreit pick them and all this. I'm kind of like, he may be
the
right.
Problem. You're the problem. They listening to your show and basing their opinion.
That's what it is.
What you're saying. Thanks a lot, man.
That's what it is. Do
not pick Ole Miss the next 3 weeks, buddy.
Yeah.
Gosh, listen to your show.
But I absolutely, I've kind of felt differently about it because that's all the experts are leaning that way now. But I like Iowa, man. I'm riding with them.
Well, you got a You got Syracuse traveling down to number 18, Miami. Man, Miami is a 28.5 point favorite, but I think Miami have played well. No, they have played their way out of the tournament situation. You got number 23, Washington traveling to Wisconsin. Once again, seeing Wisconsin 2-6, 0-5 in the Big Ten is just something strange. You got Wake Forest going to number 14, Virginia. This is a game with implications. Virginia, if they win out, win the ACC, then Virginia's in. And
Coach,
you said it, I said it. ACC is getting one team in, and that's it.
Virginia has the 85th strength of schedule and the 65th remaining strength of schedule. They're going to play Wake Forest, who is not good, and they are only a 6.5 point favorite.
What they going to do?
The projections right now, see, that's my thing. What happens with that? But I'm telling you, Coach, right now, the latest projection would have a Virginia Ole Miss playoff game.
I love it.
If I was
love
an
it.
Ole Miss fan, shoot, let everything go. Start the playoff tomorrow.
Let it
I
ride.
saw
I
where
love it.
on a offshore betting line thing they went ahead and projected lines. If the playoffs started today, Ole Miss would be a 17-point favorite over Virginia.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we would rout Virginia at Ole Miss. We would rout
Oh
them.
yeah.
Man, hey, when that third to fourth quarter hit and that music get to popping and that song they stole from the baseball team, which I don't like being played at the football game, but hey, it is what it is. That after the love is gone is for the baseball team. Don't steal it from them. They got a national championship. You can't take nothing from champions. But man, when you start playing that and all them lights get to flickering and flapping and fireworks all in the sky and everybody, Virginia will be getting ready to go back and like it's basketball season. We ain't supposed to be playing right now.
They had a
anyway.
heck of a run.
Yeah.
And I like
Give everybody five.
honestly in the ACC, I like Louisville to get to that conference championship game and win it. I think that's the team that'll come out of that conference.
Coach, in the chat, JTap24, even if that scenario happened, Kiffin is not going to Auburn. You'd have come out better saying he was going to Florida, LSU. Crap, you could have said Penn State. He is not going to Auburn.
I think if I was Auburn, I'm calling, and you know, I'm not going to put any fandom into this just because he's an Alabama guy. I'm calling John Summerall. Like that's my he's the one that has to tell me no. I've done my dance with Kiffin. If I was an Auburn fan, I'd be like, man, forget.
Yeah, I wouldn't go
him.
back to that.
I wouldn't go through it. He took through there. He's the reason. Like I said it several times that the reason why and this may just be trolling. He may not be an Auburn fan, but Auburn fans were set up for failure because they thought they rightfully thought they were getting the coach they wanted. It didn't happen. They got the guy they didn't want. It didn't work. And
Yeah,
I wouldn't go back through that.
You ain't finna have me trying to go after this woman and she done turned me down. And now I'm finna go back to her and ask her again? No. Fool me once, shame on you. You're not finna fool me twice. So they will be fools to go back trying to get Kiffin again. But you got
He said not an Auburn fan, hate Ole Miss. So yeah, he trolled.
Man, come on. Don't be that way, guys. Come on now. I don't even hate Auburn like that. But you got you got California traveling to number 15, Louisville, which is another team that is in this ACC mix. Looking at Louisville remaining schedule, having California come
It's
across.
not bad.
They get a wounded, basically walking, dead man walking in Clemson coming in, and you got SMU, which is a dangerous team.
Coach, there's a chance that SMU could run the table and be a 3-loss conference champion. Everybody's like 9-3 can't get you in. There's a chance.
Yes, it can.
There's a chance.
Now, will they
Southern Miss wins that conference?
They drugged in the playoffs, yeah, but that's your fault. ACC should have won the game. But so you got let's see, and you got the one that it will be on the TV screen while we're on Saturday night. Navy, 7-1 Navy travels to number 10 Notre Dame, who is 6-2, might I add. And if you go back to our first shows, I've never been a midshipman in my life. But if anybody got some Navy gear, send it to me because I am wearing Navy because I am sick and tired of Notre Dame. And it's time that we finally send them on their way. Freeman, pack your bags, go ahead. Now, LSU, don't you do this again. You already got one Notre Dame coach. It didn't work out. Don't do it again. Go in another direction. But Freeman, you go to Florida. You go to Florida. You go to Auburn. But whatever it is, I don't want you going to the playoffs. So I need Navy.
J-Tap said he has Kentucky beating Florida this weekend, and so we're all on the same page.
We're with you on that one.
Yeah.
But, Coach, they got Notre Dame as a 26.5-point favorite. What do Vegas know that we don't know?
I think that they expect, Navy's going to run that option, and every time they get stopped, Notre Dame's going to get the ball and just go down and score. Like, because you always know, like, you see these big lines and you're like, well, it can't be, because even if Navy doesn't win the game or doesn't execute, that offense is going to run clock. That offense is set up to manage the clock, run the clock, and shorten the game, limit possession. So to me, it looks like Vegas thinks, well, there's not going to be many possessions, and Notre Dame's going to score on every one of them. And after last week, I watched a good bit of Navy. I'm not buying. I don't know if I'm laying 25.5, but I just don't see Navy winning the game after watching them last week.
Coach, I'm telling you right now, get you $25. You bet money line, and you
$1,500
away with $339 because Navy is winning. No, you know what? It's a good week. Go ahead and put $75 on it. $75. You will walk away with $1,017 because Navy is going to go to Notre Dame and they're going to upset them.
Hit the what button?
Now, if you bet that money, you bet it on your own.
I was gonna say,
don't you blame? Don't call. Don't inbox us talking about you just lost all your gas money.
I'll better help, not the Coach and Coach podcast.
Man, $150 will give you two. And if somebody just really feeling good about themselves and just say, you know what, I'm just gonna drop $500 on this game, you will walk away with $6,000 at $6,780. Navy, make it happen for me. Probably won't do it, but still, I need you to do it. And that wraps up. I do want to look at Southern Miss. We said we was gonna make a better effort to check Southern Miss.
Yeah, check them out, Coach. Make a better effort.
And not, even though I'm not the college guy, let me make that disclaimer. He is the college guy. What conference is this is bad?
Sun Belt.
Sun Belt.
And they're leading their division.
You see,
and that's that's my thing too, because I talked about it on my live the other night. James Madison's in that conference, and I think from a committee standpoint, I think the committee looks at it as Memphis, James Madison, North Texas, Tulane, and Navy. When you go dive into analytics and FPI, and you kind of mix that stuff together. So hey, Southern Miss could play spoiler to someone's playoff bid.
But check this out, Coach. Check this out. Let's say they beat Arkansas State this week.
They lost to Louisiana Tech, Coach.
But hold on.
Yeah, it's
Coach,
over.
Hear me out. You got to hear me out first, Coach. You got to hear me out. Alabama lost to who did
Louisiana Monroe.
Who did Alabama lose to?
Louisiana Monroe in 07. Saving.
No, I'm talking about this year.
Oh, Florida State.
Lost to Florida State. Florida State is garbage. But check this out. Hear me out, Coach. Hear me out. Southern Miss beat Arkansas State this weekend. Then they beat Texas State. Then they beat South Alabama, beat Troy. That's gonna put Southern Miss, who is my niece alumni now, because I told her she can't claim Ole Miss no more because you're taking classes at Southern Miss. You can no longer wear the red and blue anymore. You are whatever that SMTT means. I don't know what it means. It's dumb. It's stupid. but that's what you're a part of now, and that's what you're gonna do. But they will be 10-2, and let's say they beat James Madison in the championship game. Southern Miss will be 11-2. You can't slide them in at 12.
I think if they do, congratulations. But I think that would
It ain't.
solidify it
It
being
ain't
a.
happening.
It would solidify the American getting that bid. It's a cute story. It's a great story. I'm fine. Yeah, I hope it happens for Southern Miss. But they're
Well,
going to go play in the R&L Carriers Bowl, and like they always do, and or whatever that bowl is now. I guess the New Orleans Bowl, whatever it is that they always play in, and um, I think the only hope for the Sun Belt is James Madison just going all the way because their only loss is to Virginia, who right now sits in the playoffs. So
Southern Miss fans, I tried. I tried. It
I'm
just
pulling
didn't work.
for you, but I
It
just don't
just didn't
see
work
it.
out. And that will wrap up our college section on tonight. Coach, we have some high school games in effect. You know, this is high school playoff time. You got the 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A are already in playoff, and 5, 6, and 7A are finishing up their final week of the regular season. They begin their playoff next week. I do have some games tonight, got some scores that's in right now. In 1A, you got Tupelo Christian beating the brakes off of Potts Camp. It is 58-0. You got Biggersville, uh, which is I said it's going to be Biggersville and Calhoun City in the North Half Championship. Well, they're up. Well, the game is a final now. Biggersville beat Ashland 40-0. Do not have a score on Faulkner and Thrasher right now. Looking at 2A, Baldwin is blowing out, and I'm pretty sure. I hope this is not a first quarter score, but it's showing first quarter. Baldwin is beating East Union 35-6. Hamilton is beating Strayhorn 41-6.
I could see those being first quarter scores, Coach.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, yeah, our great division. Thanks a lot, guys. In 3A, you got Kasuth 46-8 over Holly Spring in the fourth quarter. Independence and Boonville, there is no score now. Seminary and Southeast Lauderdale, there is no score. In 4A, you got Shannon and New Albany, 22-12. Shannon is up 22-12 in the third quarter.
That's interesting.
Coach, you got a game going on in the fourth quarter. Houston 22, North Pontotoc 22.
That's a good game.
It's a shocking score to me.
Yeah.
First of all, I was shocked that Houston was in the playoffs, but it's
Yeah.
a shocking score. So Houston is putting their best foot forward, and they could go to North Pontotoc and upset North Pontotoc. You
Have
got
something to go
Corinth.
talk about tomorrow at work.
Corinth is up 40-0 in the fourth quarter over Amory. You will be in the gym next week. Itawamba is up 42-23 against Tishomingo County. In regular season play, 5A, you have Lafayette and Pontotoc tied in the first quarter, but I bet that's not accurate. You got Cleveland Central 21-0 over Provine. You got Northeast Jones 14-7 in Wayne County. Let's see. You got 6A regular season game. You have Lake Cormorant is tied with Olive Branch 35 all in the fourth quarter. You got Picayune is tied with Pearl River Central 21 all in the fourth quarter. You got Hattiesburg up 34-0 against Terry. You got Pascagoula up 28-3 on Gator at halftime, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't been updated. Class 7A, the game we were supposed to go to is not listed. I
Is
thought it
that
was.
tonight?
I thought the Oxford game was tonight. It might
Well,
have been.
dang.
Oh no, there it is. They just. Whoa, Starkville is up 14-7, and I'm pretty sure. If you got an update on the Starkville Oxford score, shoot us a text in the chat. Governor, I know you be on it, man. Let me know what's going on with the Oxford and Starkville game. But in 7A, you got Germantown 56-0 in the fourth quarter. Jackson Murrah. You got Madison Central 28-16 over Clinton in the fourth quarter. You got Oak Grove 21-7 over Pearl in the fourth quarter. Tupelo is beating DeSoto Central. Got a lot of story. I saved my DeSoto Central story time for another night, but I really despise that team because they really messed me up when I was in Coffeyville. DeSoto Central, when they first started, ended up in 1A for 2 years. DeSoto Central,
Yeah.
and they was the thorn in my side. Tupelo is up 28-12 on DeSoto Central. Horn Lake is up 13-7 over Lewisburg in the second quarter. Hernando up 17-7, and I don't believe these second quarter scores are accurate. I think they just probably late getting them in. In the second quarter, though, Starkville was up over Oxford 14-7. You got Northwest Rankin up 31-13 in the fourth quarter over Petal. Brandon is up 26-7 in the third quarter. Gulfport beat Harrison Central 45-14. Ocean Spring beat St. Mary 49-21. Um, Playoff games on tomorrow night. You got and it went to the wrong thing. Here we go. On tomorrow night, and it still keep going to the wrong thing. Maybe we'll get the right one in a minute. Okay. On tomorrow night, you got Byers playing Smithville. You got number one Calhoun City taking on 0-10 French Camp. If you ain't doing nothing with your life that night, just go to the game just for a quarter and a half because it will be over at kickoff. Matter of fact, I will suggest that they start running the clock during the runouts. You know, when they come through the run throughs, get the clock running then. That way French Camp can get on back to the house. They don't need to be out that late. You got Boca Chica. We take on Richton tomorrow. You got South Delta and Ethel. Coffeyville travels to West Lowndes. Vardaman is going to LaFleur County. Lumberton is going to Salem. Noxapater travels to 8-0 Simmons. Okolona travels to 6-3 West Tallahatchie. You got Shaw going to Leake County. West Bolivar 1-8. Wow. Going to 7-2 Nanawaya. You got West Lincoln traveling to Taylorsville. Mount Olive is going to Stringer. That is the 1A playoff schedule for tomorrow. 2A for tomorrow. 2A for tomorrow. You got J.Z. George going to Kemper County. Mize is going to Lake. Pelahatchie is going to Bay Spring. Perry Central is going to Wesson. Clarkdale is going to Scott Central, and which is crazy. Clarkdale is 7-3. Scott Central is 3-7. So Scott Central managed to be a 2 seed, and Clarkdale ended up being a 3 seed. You got Hatley going to Myrtle. I said Water Valley was the only team going to survive the first round in our division, and I'm still going to hold on to that. Walnut travels to Water Valley on tomorrow. You got Leland going to East Webster. Wilkinson County goes to East Marion. You got Newton traveling to Heidelberg. You got Collins traveling to Amite County. 1-8 Philadelphia is traveling to Charleston. That's another game that they can start running the clock now. Don't even wait. Velma Jackson will travel to Northside. Lord Starr is going to North Forest. 3A playoff ball tomorrow. Bear with me, almost finishing this thing up. You got Pisgah going to Raleigh. You got St. Patrick going to Franklin County. You got Independence going to Boonville. You got Port Gibson traveling to West Marion. Belmont is going to North Panola. Russo got the North Panola Tigers rolling, so they will take on and host their first playoff game in a long time. Congrats to our buddy, friend of ours, Coach Russo. You got O'Bannon traveling to Winona. You got Jefferson Davis County traveling to Union. Didn't know Union had moved up to 3A. Thank you. Glad you're out of our out of 2A. Jefferson County travels to Presbyterian Christian. Alcorn Central. Coach Marty Warren go to Cahoma County. That is a long ride from Alcorn Central to Cahoma County. You will be out all night long. They should have played that game on tonight, but then it wouldn't have been nobody at school. You got Tylertown going to Hazelhurst. Aberdeen going to Humphreys County. Choctaw County goes to Edwards. Yazoo County travels to Noxubee County. McGee goes to Quitman. And for your 4A playoff schedule for tomorrow, you got South Pike go to Pass Christian. Mendenhall travels to Newton County. Yazoo City travels to Clarksdale. You got Mouse Point traveling to Columbia. You got Roosevelt going to Kosciuszko. Poplarville is traveling to Forest County Agriculture. Greene County travels to Macomb. Tishomingo County, that game is going on right now. West Lauderdale goes to Morton. You got Ripley traveling to Louisville. Greenwood is going to Senatobia. Richland is going to Lee County. And you got Choctaw Central traveling to Forest. That is your playoff schedule for tomorrow, and a couple of scores on tonight. So after this week, you really won't see no competitive, coach. You really won't see no competitive playoff games until about that third round.
Yeah, I agree with you. You got, I know back in the day it was like what the top two in the division went, and the more games they've added, the more watered down it's become through the
Yeah.
years.
Those first two games is just uh, it's not. It's just, man, it's just gonna be paying the referees and paying the association because it's not. You're not, schools ain't gonna make a lot of money, and it's just gonna be pretty much, especially if you're a dominant team. It's just going you're just gonna go through the motions, and all you're trying to do in these first two playoff games is to keep people healthy. Um, Once the game is out of hand, get your starters out of the game, because in order to make this run, you need not only you need to win, but in order to win, you need your players on the floor. And that is the high school football on this week. Coach, we just finished the NFL trade deadline. Wasn't a lot of big news, but we do want to we do want to dive into some NFL on tonight. Coach even got a little playlist to go with it. So we just testing out all our little sounds on tonight. But we even got something to go. Let's see. It's NFL time.
It's time for a minute with the NFL with Coach Parks.
Man, I'm working on this stuff, man. So we go.
I love it.
We're gonna be big time, man. But
Yes,
we,
sir.
we did just had the trading deadline. Wasn't a lot of big news. Wasn't a lot of big things. One of the big things that happened was Sauce Gardner, the Indianapolis coach, solidifying their defensive backfield by getting one of the young, talented cornerbacks in the league right now. And that was a huge get right there. That was probably one of the biggest trades on the week. And what I want to do today is I want to look at some standings. I want to look at where the teams are standing at this moment, halfway through the season as we get closer and closer to some teams. And one thing that I've saw this year, Coach, in the NFL, there are no, back in the day, you the Patriots. It was the Patriots. It was either the Patriots and the Colts, or the Patriots and the Ravens. Yeah, when Peyton went to the Broncos, the Patriots and the Broncos. In the NFC, it was Philadelphia Cowboys, 49. Now, Coach, this year it's a lot more. It's more tossed up now than it's been in a while. Now, looking at the AFC East, you do have the New England Patriots, who are back up top again. They are 7-2 on the year. Um, the Buffalo Bills are number two in that division at 6-2. But after that, it falls completely off with Miami being 2-7, and the New York Football. Well, can't call it. We need to stop calling the Giants football Giants, but we call it the Jets are 1-7. In the AFC North, some I guess the Baltimore Ravens decided, hey, we want to go try to make a playoff push, and reports that Lamar Jackson told the general manager that they wanted all of the games out of the players' lobby. We need to be focused on winning ball games, and even though your hamstring been hurt for the last 3 or 4 games, but he wanted everything, coach. He wanted everything out of there. We need to be focused. That made me cough. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are still leading the division 5-3. Baltimore is second in that division with 3-5. Cincinnati and Cleveland are dumpster fires. Cincinnati's 3-6. At this point, don't bring Joe Burrow back this year. Let him heal. There is no reason to bring him back, and I hope they're smart enough in Cincinnati not to put him back in the fold. It's over with. Now, as far as Cleveland, Now there is one thing that happened in Cleveland, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Uh, Kevin Stefanski relieved himself as the play caller, and my thing is Dylan Gabriel. Tell me what Flacco was not doing that Dylan Gabriel is, to where you say okay, because before they traded Flacco, they benched him. What is Dylan Gabriel doing that's so much different than Flacco?
I don't know. Is it youth? Is it just wanting to be younger and developing or something for the future? I don't
Hey,
know.
youth will have you in the top 5 every year at 5'10" and a half and can't see over nobody. He's really not playing. And right now, uh, not only the Cleveland Browns, and I want you to, I just want to make sure Cleveland Browns is the lowest scoring team in the NFL. They only have 126 points on the season.
That's shocking considering the
That is
Titans
the
are in that league.
that is the lowest, and that's what's crazy. The Titans have 130. It's not like it's that much greater, but there's more. But hear me out, Coach. If you ask somebody about Titans offensive players, people couldn't tell you who was on that team.
Nah.
They can tell you on the Cleveland Browns team. And the Cleveland Browns are 2-6. I'm not buying, and I'm glad they didn't trade Myles Garrett, because Myles Garrett signed that contract. You knew Cleveland was not going to do nothing special. You knew Cleveland wasn't going to be any better. You should have saw it, but you signed the extension anyway. You could have got out of that situation. So him being mad on the sideline, and I'm tired of losing, and I'm tired of losing because losing makes me sick. Well, why did you stay there? Because it wasn't good. There's nothing in there there's nothing he could have saw that made him think that this was going to be any better. So he is stuck with it, and it is a dumpster fire. It is a dumpster fire at that place, and to be the worst scoring offense, your quarterback is the worst, is responsible for the worst scoring in football. In the AFC South, you got the Indianapolis Colts 7-2, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 5-3, the Houston Texans. Now, here's the things about Coach. Here's what's strange about your division. Houston Texans. Houston is number 3 in their division.
What, 3-5?
At 3-5. But Coach, they have the best scoring defense in the league. They only allow 100. They have only allowed in 8 games 121 points.
Mm-hmm.
That division right there is tough. Tennessee just got they are in the wrong division right now, because that is a tough division.
They're in the wrong league. They need to go play in the Pac-12.
Coach,
Yeah, guys starting it would get cut on other 53. They'd be practice players.
Coach, man, hold on, man. You gonna make me choke, man.
I can't. I'm sitting here struggling through this NFL talk because I'm going to watch on Sundays, because I'm like, hey, we're setting up for a potential number 1 pick. We're going to rebuild this thing, but I know that in 5 years they'll just trade it all away anyway, and we'll do this all over again. So I mean, I'm just go ahead, Coach. Go ahead.
Coach, man, you got me. I'm sweating over here, man. Just give me a second, man. You caught me off guard with that one, man. But I get it, man. Like, I think I know with my team, one of the biggest things that I have saw with my team is that we're still trying to find Ray Lewis. You can see it in the draft. It seemed like we are still searching for Ray Lewis, and we still draft like we're looking for Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is not out there no more, guys. He's done. He's not coming back to football. He's done. And I feel like the Ravens are still searching for him, and they're just going to keep searching. But you got in the AFC West, Hold on, man. I gotta collect myself. Oh man, it's tough being 1-8, Coach. Man, hey, we
I
praying.
know it.
We praying for you. Hey, Coach, my brother, God rest his soul. He was a Tennessee Titan fan too. Man, he will be him. He always rolled tide and tighten up. So he
Hey,
he
at least he had Alabama.
he would be in the shape right now too, man. But in the AFC West, you got the Denver Broncos 7-2, the Chargers 6-3, Kansas City 5-4, and the Las Vegas Raiders 2-6. Going over to the NFC, you got the Eagles leading the NFC East. I'm at 6-2. The Cowboys, who unfortunately had to deal with something this week that uh, none of us would ever like to hear. And prayers to that young man's family, his mother, his girlfriend, and everybody that's involved with him. I do encourage people, man, that if you're dealing with something, man, just try to talk to somebody. Just try, and just to see, just to read the news on it this morning and everything that transpired. The young man. I tell people all the time, money don't solve problems. It don't. And everybody would probably say, well, he had all of this money. He's an NFL player. What he could be dealing with. Well, the thing about it, money don't solve that stuff. And I do plead and beg with people that's dealing with things, man. Just go talk to somebody, man. If you don't want an interaction with somebody, uh, I've learned even if you post some, I've gotten better with this. When people post certain things, I've learned not to look at something like, well, they just trying to get attention. Yes, they are. And if they are, we need to go give them the attention that they need so we can kind of help them. So prayers not only to his family but to his team. These guys has been around this man. He's been with the Cowboys for 2 years, and you be with these guys longer more than you be with your own family. So I know they're practicing with heavy hearts this week, and then have to get stuff together for a football game. And that got to be difficult this week. But the Washington Commanders also 3-6, and Jaden Daniels went down. Looked like for the season. I don't know if you watched the video of him breaking his arm, but coach, it is nasty.
Yeah.
Anything. I'm a guy. I'm not a big. I hate dislocations of ankles and stuff. Coach, the steel shot of his arm is too much for me.
Yeah.
So I
It's
remember
bad.
trying to watch Joe Theismann and man, ain't it something being a Washington quarterback?
It's like there's a
Crap, Alex Smith, Joe Theismann, RG3, and now Jaden Daniels.
yeah.
Man,
And I like Jaden Daniels when he was in college, so I'm hoping that that can be a easy fix for him and he can come back because I enjoyed RG3 too. I hope that it's not turned into a situation where it's just an injured quarterback that can't they have to move on from it. I hope they can find a way for him to get healthy and stay healthy because I liked him when he was at LSU.
and I asked you that. I asked you, is this an RG3 situation? And like you said, I hope it's not. Plus, he gave us one of the best highlights ever at Ole Miss
He
when we
did.
bumped him and he fumbled that ball. Man, that was one of the best highlights. The New York Giants are 2-7. The Green Bay Packers are leading the NFC North at 5-2. Detroit Lions are 5-3, and the Chicago Bears are 5-3. I mean, it's looking the way it's looking. The NFC North could get three teams into the playoffs. Coach, this is what's crazy. If it play out like it's playing out, the North can mess around and sweep and get everybody into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That is wild thinking right there. But you got Tampa Bay leading the South at 6-2, Carolina 5-4, Atlanta 3-5,
Shout
and
out
New
to Carolina. Like that's
yes,
I mean,
amazing coaching job, man. And Bryce Young, but Rico Dowdle is having an amazing year, and we'll get to that when we talk about our midseason awards to wrap up our show tonight. But the Carolina Panthers and that coaching staff, kudos to y'all. Y'all are in the playoff hunt, and you're only a game and a half behind Tampa Bay. Um, in the NFC West, you got the Seattle Seahawks Sam Darnold, wasn't he supposed to be washed up and done?
Yeah, he's. I mean, I think we could have said that several times.
Gosh, he's still rolling, man. So now he got Seattle rolling. He got
Yeah.
Seattle rolling. They're leading the NFC West. But you do got a log jam. So anything I just said about the NFC
Would they
North
be the
is not
two
going to happen.
seed in the? Would they be the 2 seed in the NFC if the playoffs started right now,
They would
or would
either
they
be
be the
they'll
3?
be the 1 or the 2
Yeah,
because in the division they're 1-1. Tampa Bay is 2-0. Tampa Bay right now would be the number 1 seed because of their division record, and Philadelphia would be number 2. Seattle would be number 3.
3. Okay.
Because 3-2 conference, 4-2 conference, 5-1. No, excuse me. Philadelphia would be number 1. Tampa Bay would be number 2, and Seattle would be number 3. But that's still impressive,
Yeah, it is.
knowing that you don't have DK Metcalf there. You don't have uh, what's the dude to catch the ball and fall down on time? I think he's on your team. You just catch it and fall. Lockett, he's not there
Yeah,
anymore.
lock it.
Gino went to Las Vegas, so this was supposed to have been a reshuffling year. It's supposed to have been a year that they just regroup, but they are looking to make a playoff run. You got the Los Angeles Rams 6-2 and the 49ers 6-3. 49ers have been without all of their key pieces outside of Christian McCaffrey. The 49ers have been missing a lot of players. Um, Arizona 3-5. They put Kyler Murray on IR this week, but I think that's more of they really could have just said off-season trading block. I think the handwriting is on the wall. I think it's done with Kyler Murray in Arizona. Coach, before we wrap up this show, though, I do want to talk about some mid-season awards. Mid-season awards in the NFL. Now that we are 9 games in, 9 weeks in, I want to look at who do you see as your rookie of the year this year?
For me, I'm gonna gotta ride with my guy because I'm an Ole Miss guy. I'm going Jackson Dart just because he has no like they're they're always in the story. You know that he's taking the headlines. He's all
New
his
York.
weapons are falling down beside him. You
Yeah,
know,
he losing a
all his
lot of.
weapons are falling down,
No, they
and he's
gone.
still he's still out there slinging that thing. His tight end stepped up for him in a big way. Um, and then, but I think he's just the way he's made New York excited about football and stuff, and he don't have terrible numbers. I'd probably, you know, it's awards are always kind of quarterback driven, so I'd probably go with him.
Yeah, because they got the ball. They got the ball the most anyway, and he is right now. He's throwing 109 for 175. He got a 62.3% completion rating. He has 1,175 yards. That's he didn't start the first um,
4 games, 3, 4 games.
3 or 4 games. He didn't start the first 3 or 4 games. So he do have 10 touchdowns on the season to 3 interceptions. And also have now the problem, and you see this a lot with rookie quarterbacks. It's not shocking that he's been sacked um, 19 times. I mean, that's you usually see that with rookie quarterbacks. Just trying to get used to what they see. But my rookie of the year coach is Quinshawn Junkins, and it pains me to say it because I was really mad at him when he left Ole Miss. But if you ain't gonna get the money, you just ain't gonna get the money. Right now, you got Genty is leading, but he's only leading Quinshawn. And here's the thing: Genty have played all of the games. Quinshawn is 1 game behind Genty, and Genty is only 1 yard ahead of Quinshawn Junkins on the season. Ashton Genty got 487 yards on 124 carries. Junkins got 486 yards on 118 carries. He have 4 touchdowns. I mean 5. He has 5 touchdowns to Genty's 3 touchdowns, and that's why I have Junkins as the rookie of the year over Genty because Junkins is, and neither one. What's crazy about all those 3 names? Neither one of their teams are winning.
Yeah,
Neither one of their teams are winning.
but
So
that's I mean, I think that's a good pick too. I just Jenkins, That man was on the sideline. Like, that man played more games in an Ole Miss uniform. He on the sideline at Ohio, which I know he won a national championship there. But let's moving on.
And missed the whole freaking preseason training camp, and and he just got it living his best life. Um, my offensive player of the year midseason is Christian McCaffrey. He is having a record breaking season. He has 596 rushing yards, and that's pretty impressive. But coach, he have 626 receiving yards. He is. I don't know. I don't know if his Achilles and calf issues have now been resolved, but he is having a record-breaking season. That's why I have him at my offensive player of the year. Who do you have your offensive player of the year?
I'd probably give mine to Jonathan Taylor.
He's leading the league in rushing right now, 895 yards.
Yeah.
So and Cook is right behind him. But guess who's number three? A former Cowboy running back, Rico Dowdle, who didn't play all of the games. He has 20 less carries than those two that's in front of him. He has 735 yards. So they said running backs were dead in NFL. I beg to differ. Um, I didn't put a defensive player of the year because I really haven't put much focus on defensive player of the year. Do you have a defensive player of the year?
I not
Yeah,
offensive.
we like offense.
I'm an offensive guy, Coach.
Yeah, we like offense. My MVP. I got Daniel Jones. Now, who would have ever thought me? Daniel Jones right now is leading the league with 2,404 yards. He had 14 touchdowns. Now, his only problem, he got 6 interceptions. We know Danny Dimes will put that ball on the ground. He will put that ball in somebody else's hands, and he's been sacked 14 times. But with what he's doing, he's averaging 267 yards a game, and where the Colts are right now, that's who I have as my MVP. Who's your MVP, coach?
Yeah, I think you've got the right pick. I chose Baker Mayfield because he's sitting there fighting for that 1 seed
Yeah.
in the NFC, and he just. I've always thought Baker was a gamer, and he might have bounced around some spots, but I think he's found a spot that
Found a spot.
he can thrive in, and so far he's doing that. So even though I like your pick, but I'm alright. I'll take Baker.
Okay, we got two things I want to hit, and that's the worst coach of the year. Who do you have as your worst coach of the year in NFL, current or fired?
Well, Coach, let me put my pouting face on.
I know where you
It's hard to talk about the NFL, man. But I'm gonna go with Brian Callahan. With granted, he was coaching. He's coaching guys that should be mopping the hallways of the Titan facility, but I'm gonna go Brian Callahan.
Coach. All right, my worst coach of the year. I mean, I can't even say it right. Mine is Mike McDaniel. I don't know what we're waiting on in Miami to send him on back to San Francisco so he can help out. To help out. Crap, I can't even think of nobody's name right now. But Mike McDaniel, Miami Dolphins, it's over with, man. Let's call it a day. Let's just get this thing over with, man. Why are they prolonging your firing, man? Is beyond me. If I were you, I would just say, hey, I'm like the little kid that was on social media one time and said he was tired of this church. I would just go into a meeting and just say, you know what, I'm tired of all of y'all, and just go from there. Because, hey, good show tonight, man. You, hey, all Titans fans, man, we sorry. It's a rough year for you, buddy.
Hey, but time out 1 second, just to let me. I got to give a shout out to the Chicago Bulls because I am a Chicago Bulls fan. You gotta go 6-1. If you're gonna go 81-1, you gotta start at 6-1. And the last I looked, because I hadn't watched, they were 6-1. So, at least I've got, because I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan. They're terrible. The Bulls have been terrible. The Titans are terrible. So right now, I know it's early in the NBA, but I've got from a pro sports standpoint, that's who I have to check box scores with every morning because right now they're my only hope.
Well, hey, shout out to the Boston Celtics. I don't know who's on your team. You're not winning. I don't know what's going on. Who cares? Jason Tatum hurt. I'm just watching it. I'm just here for the vibes, babe. Just here for the vibes. But man, hey, good show tonight, man. And we thank everybody that came on tonight. Those that followed us on TikTok, those that was on Facebook Live. Appreciate you, Governor. Man, you was in the house. I've been reading everything you've been posting, my guy. For everybody that joined us today and everybody that continue to support the Coach and Coach podcast, support Coach Benji and the college show that he do twice a week, man. Hey, we appreciate you all. And if you missed this show, make sure that you log in to your Spotify, to your Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts on in the morning, and you will be able to listen to this show on the way to work, on your lunch break. If you can get away with it, doing your work day, put your AirPods in, put on the Coach Coach podcast. Man, I promise you, you will work, you will laugh, and you'll get everything you need. Get everything you need to know about your college football and NFL football, and pretty soon NBA and college basketball. Well, Coach, I am the coach that tries to keep people out of the end zone. He's the coach that gets us in the end zone. Until we see you again, we are the Coach and Coach podcast. Appreciate everybody. We'll see you on the next one.